I wanted to take a few moments and talk about the recent Supreme Court decision regarding marriage in the United States. I realize not everyone joining our webcast is in the United States, but this decision has an impact on the world and the church as a whole. If you didn't know, the U.S. Supreme Court has made yet another landmark decision creating law, not from the Constitution, but from thin air and public opinion. This is not their job by any means. No. The problem is there is little we can do about the Supreme Court with their lifetime appointments. The Supreme Court has overstepped its bounds, and 4 out of the 9 justices who sit on the court say as much in their dissenting opinion in this particular case. To the subject at hand, gay marriage. I have a couple of comments that will lead us right into today's topic of true religion. First, marriage is an ordinance or institution of the church, not society. Society adopted marriage, but marriage was and is an ordinance of the church. For centuries, the church kept marriage, birth, and death records for the benefit of the people of the church and the church itself. These records and relationships had no bearing on government or society. For some reason, government decided that these vital statistics should be kept by the government. In the United States, we also decided at some point to give people who were married a tax break on their income taxes. Here's where the Supreme Court should have stepped in, but they didn't. This preferential treatment of people who had entered into a lifelong agreement between themselves and God were being treated differently than others. All people being created equal, this made an inequality and should have been ruled unconstitutional. Right. But everyone at the time, or most, were Bible-believing Christians. So, what was the big deal? This is where the separation of church and state is supposed to take place. Right. The state should have stayed out of church business, and we would not be facing this issue today. Friends, I say again, marriage is an ordinance and institution of the church. Society is going to do what society does. Just because society says something is legal doesn't make it right. And just because society says something is illegal doesn't make it wrong. What we must do as the church is simple. And it is found in Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 13, which says, "Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind." Amen. When you follow that with Jesus' response to the Pharisees on what the greatest commandment is, found in Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 to 40, Jesus replies, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these 2 commandments." So friends, just because society says it's legal doesn't make it right in the church. This doesn't relieve us of the command to love God and one another. Right. Remember, God loved the whole world so much that he sent his son to pay the sacrifice for all of our sin. And remember, he didn't come to condemn the world, but to save the world.
Amen. Just a great reminder.